And now it's time to talk about one of my favorite things in Pokemon, and that is theory crafting. How will shiny hunting work? In Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, this is following up some information that we got last week, just kind of not really confirming, but affirming that we have shiny Pokemon that will appear in the overworld in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, but the mechanics are strange because if we see a shiny Pokemon on screen when the game is doing stuff like this, you know, where Pokemon just kind of randomly pop up, how is it going to work? Now we can see right here that all of a sudden Pokemon, it goes from 0 to 60 real quick. There's no Pokemon on screen. Kakuna pops up. We see these blue sparkles right here, which kind of indicates a special Pokemon. Not shiny, but it's roughly the same thing. So yeah, it's just a rare chance that a Pokemon's going to pop up and have that coloration behind it. So we can kind of go around and look at how some of these Pokemon encounters work, or how the Pokemon interact with their environment and the trainer, and maybe get an idea as to what that could mean for shiny hunting. Like, what potentially is the best method? How's it going to work? I find all this stuff really exciting, so if you have any comments down below as to what you think about shiny hunting, please leave them. Also, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like. There are a few more things that I want to talk about because it's crazy. So the first thought might be, what happens if you just enter and leave a route? Is this what shiny hunting is going to be reduced to? Like, if you just kind of, you know, find like a patch of grass that's close to a door, close to a building, or just like a part that you can refresh the area, is that like just how you get more Pokemon to spawn? Well, as we can see from this, that looks to not be the case. By just simply entering into Viridian Forest, there's no Pokemon spawns available, but they slowly start to pop in. This could be used as a refresh, but it also might be slower than kind of some of the Pokemon methods that we're going to explore throughout this video, because yeah, it's not like you walk in and there's 5 Pokemon there and then you can quickly scan it, see if there's a shiny or not, leave, and then come back. So depending on how fast Pokemon spawn and despawn could be the method of determining if it's going to be faster to seek a building or seek a area where you can refresh, or just kind of let the game play as usual. Now what about wild Pokemon battles? When you encounters, catches, whatever, people are a little sensitive on the Pokemon battles being removed, but what about if you actually encounter a Pokemon? It seems to not change anything. So this is kind of like that clip from earlier where we run into the Pidgey and then we encounter that. So if you encounter a Pokemon, does it refresh everything that you see on screen? Well, when we exit that encounter, we can see that is not the case. Pikachu is still there, even the special Pokemon. Now if it reset the special Pokemon, that could maybe be an issue when it comes to shinies, but it doesn't seem that way. And as you can see, like, there's still tons and tons of Pokemon on screen, so doesn't really look like anything is lost with that. So let's keep checking out what could happen. Well, I want to show another instance of just like crazy insane Pokemon spawns, because maybe it's just the entry of the place. Maybe Viridian Forest just has like high Pokemon spawns or something like that. But as we explore through more of the demo, as we see more, all right, so we got Weedle popping up right there. That's one. But then we go into this patch, and then it's like Pokemon are just sprouting out of nowhere. It is flourishing with Pokemon. They're just popping up, and then things get ridiculous. So trying to figure out how many Pokemon can be on screen is also going to be a really interesting aspect of the game. Is there a set cap? Is there an encounter ratio or a spawn ratio for every single route? That some places are just gonna have more Pokemon able to spawn in bushes than others, or is it just, you know, universal? Will some areas only have 5 Pokemon that can be on screen, others might have 20? What makes them better for shiny hunting? Now, there is one problem that becomes apparent with this. It doesn't seem like you're gonna be able to target specific shiny Pokemon like we can with SOS battles, Dex Navs, Hordes, things like that. But there might be like certain like items or methods of calling specific Pokemon, and that's going to be an interesting thing to keep an eye on. Or maybe this game isn't going to be that technical for shiny Pokemon, and it's something that appears and everyone's going to have a pretty solid opportunity of getting one. Well, just kind of going at the numbers, I mean, we can look on screen right there. So around this state of the game, there's already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Pokemon on screen, and there's a question mark over there. I don't know if that's like a Kakuna or just a weird piece of light, but then 3 Pokemon are about to spawn. So if we progress it, then we can see, you know, like a Pikachu ends up spawning right there, and then also if we continue, there's an Oddish and a Metapod, and also another Kakuna. So some of the Pokemon can stay on screen, like this Weedle is likely still here as well, and then new Pokemon are appearing all the time. So depending on how many Pokemon end up spawning in such a short amount of time, it could just be faster to walk around in circles than to exit the route and come back. unfortunately, like, if it was reset by Pokemon battles or some way of like triggering a reset like that, that would also be really interesting. And maybe repels do that. Like, I feel like there could be an item that, you know, how a repel is going to work in this game if you walk into a patch of grass and there's just a literal impassable wall of Pokemon. We kind of see that in the demo at some point as well, around here. Like, that's just impassable. That, you know, we're blocked in by a Metapod at the top. There's Caterpie all over the place. There's Oddish. Like, look how many Pokemon are on screen right now as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 Pokemon on screen. That's just super crazy to think about. But yeah, like, okay, so would a repel actually dispel Pokemon? And how like, would it actually have that lasting effect? Because I feel like for a repel to have any usage in this game, it would mean Pokemon cannot spawn at all, or else there's a chance that one runs you down, because we've seen Pokemon chase you in this game from the demo, or that, you know, Pokemon just kind of stay away or something. Like, if they're actually pushed away by you, that'd be pretty cool. So maybe using repels would be a way of just resetting really quickly for the effect. But then if the Pokemon stay gone, then it's not really that temporary. That means you have to, you know, get a new batch of 10 Pokemon every 150 steps or so. I don't think that that's efficient. So it just seems like the best way of doing it is just progressing through the route. And if certain patches of grass have special Pokemon spawn, that's going to be tricky for targeting them shiny. So it looks like, you know, new methods for shiny hunting are going to be insane from what we know. Also, just going from the original trailer, you know, the Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, Pokemon Let's Go Eevee trailer, the first one, almost 14 million views right now, we actually get a peek inside of Mount Moon. We can see that there's tons of Pokemon spawns. Zubat just pops out of the ground. We already have 6 Pokemon on screen. Even some of the rarer or more uncommon Pokemon are visible. So we can see Clefairy, Paris, because this is like the area where Paris is more common, and even throughout the Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee demo at E3, a Bulbasaur actually spawned. So rare Pokemon are going to be interesting to see, like, if there's a way of manipulating that. But also, even though we don't get a lot, like, I wish there was more gameplay showing us how Pokemon spawn, where they spawn, and stuff like that to kind of draw better conclusions, because yeah, all we really have is Mount Moon, which does show us a decent amount of density. Like, if you can actually just go up and down that ladder, so caves, if this is actually a viable way of respawning Pokemon and getting them in really quick. You know, if these Pokemon spawned within 10 seconds of going up and down the ladder and running around, that means you can get, you know, 6 to 10 Pokemon spawns right here. You go up, you do a couple circles, get 10 more, and then you reset. That's going to be madness. And if you're doing that, you're cycling insane amounts of encounters. So I'm wondering if the odds are going to be changed as well. That, you know, is it going to be 1 in 10,000? Because now we're looking at Pokemon at a much higher rate than we were ever encountering them. Or is the idea that, you know, if you went through and caught 10 Pokemon, the amount of time that it takes, or at least, you know, found a Pokemon, ran away, went back into the grass, you know, did natural Pokemon encounters, that all these Pokemon on the screen, they roughly appear at the same time, so we're still looking at 1 in 8,000, 1 in 4,000 odds. But if this method actually ends up working on Mount Moon or something, that means we're cycling through, you know, 40 Pokemon a minute? That's crazy. That means, you know, we could get a shiny Pokemon an hour through this method, and that's without a shiny charm. That's just, you know, straight up odds, which usually takes tens of hours or something ridiculous, especially if we're going for like soft resets on legendaries and stuff. Looking at some other Pokemon, you know, they don't have to be in grass, and it seems like they don't even have to be in grass to spawn, because like these Pokemon are far away from their home. Like, what are you doing out there, Raticate? So I mean, did Raticate just kind of pop up right there? I think we even see that in the E3 demo, that, you know, as long as the area is a route, and they may spawn close to grass, but you know that Pokemon are just in the wild, and they're ready to stop you. Like that Raticate, he's holding it down right there. This Ponyta might have spawned in the grass, walked around a bit, but there's no other Pokemon here. So I don't know if that's something that, you know, was just recorded for the commercial. There's a few times where we are seen running through grass, but there's not really too many wild Pokemon. So does that show that Viridian Forest is just a more dense area? Or if we just gave it time, you know, if Charizard wasn't rushing this route, actually went into the grass, that would actually proc more Pokemon to spawn. And maybe that's it. By going into the grass, you're saying, hey, I want to encounter Pokemon. By staying on the pavement, you're like, I'm not really looking forward to it too much. So maybe less Pokemon will spawn in that way. So what about actually getting to the shiny Pokemon? Because fortunately, it looks like, you know, the Pokemon aren't going to really go away. But the thing is, they can go away. So that seems like where the massive failure could happen when it comes to a Pokemon encounter or shiny Pokemon hunt. I don't remember exactly where I saw it. It might have been like a random tweet from one of the Japanese accounts or something, or just like some gameplay. But I could have sworn I've seen like 5 seconds of gameplay where it's just like a Mr. Mime or another Pokemon just hops away. It's like the wild Pokemon fled. So that's a mechanic that is expected, especially because like it's Pokemon Go. Also, how else are you going to fail an encounter if Pokemon will just sit there forever and you can infinitely throw Pokeballs at it? There needs to be some kind of challenge involved, and that's kind of how it works. But as for the other thing, as to like Pokemon just running away, it seems like there's two ways of failing. Either Pokemon just fleeing, and hopefully there's ways of making that not happen, such as berries and proper catching techniques and just usage of better balls. But also this, like we can see the Pikachu, whoop, gone. Peace out, bye, just fades into nothing. Like that's crazy. So I actually feel like this might take from the Dex Nav. That looks like the Pikachu got scared off because you just ran up into it, and maybe that's how Pokemon, like certain Pokemon will have different behaviors. So Pokemon that are in the grass, you run into them, they're ready to fight. Pokemon outside the grass, they're just kind of doing their own thing, and if you chase them into the grass, then they can despawn. Other Pokemon outside the grass, like Pidgey, they can just fly into you and still be a natural encounter. So some Pokemon might be scared, some Pokemon are neutral, some Pokemon will hunt you down. If you see a shiny Pokemon, don't scare it away, and that goes back to Dex Nav because you have to sneak. You have to walk slowly towards the Pokemon, so maybe that will be it. Or maybe you have to route it away from the grass, and then that gives you a better chance of encountering it. So it seems like there's a couple ways that it can fail. We've seen Pokemon randomly spawn and despawn. As for the spawning radius, I think that goes back to one of these pictures I had right here. This one. I mean, how far away are Pokemon going to be able to spawn? Because you look at the top right corner, I think it might actually be directly tied to you. So there could be a chance that if there's like a weird route or like a weird path through one of the areas, then that means you can spawn a Pokemon that you see on screen, but you're not going to be able to make it to that area without despawning the Pokemon, depending on the range. So we've already seen that some Pokemon can be off screen, which is kind of what these purple arrows are right here. Like there's a Weedle, there's a Pidgey, and then they can come in and out of screen. So it seems like the radius of encounter, or the radius of spawn, is beyond your trainer, which means a shiny Pokemon could spawn off screen, or you could move and just barely not see it, and then they'll still be there, so you could completely miss it or something like that. We get to see if catching all the Pokemon gives you a shiny charm. We get to see what other ways of happening, but it looks like there's been a decent amount of care to implement shiny Pokemon, and with that, I'm guessing there's going to be ways of modifying it, increasing the odds, or maybe shiny Pokemon are just not going to be super common and have a lot more value than they've had in previous games, because you know, you can't transfer from Pokemon Sun and Moon into Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. You can transfer out. So shiny Pokemon from your Go game will be shiny inside of Let's Go, and then Masuda's talked about wanting to make it to where you can transfer Let's Go into the Generation 8 games. So if we take all that in consideration, it's like, yeah, the few shiny Pokemon that you see, those are going to be naturally hunted, and I don't know if that means the Game Freak wants to make it easier so people can rebuild their shiny collection, or bring it back to just the original OG. If someone had a shiny Pokemon, yo, that is like one of the rarest things ever. Good luck, have fun. And since there's no breeding in the games, you can't Masuda method or anything like that. So the encounters are going to be cool. Soft resetting for legendaries. I wonder if Game Corner Pokemon are also going to be soft resettable. So that was something that happened in the past. Chain fishing might make a return. And that's kind of it. So you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.